I wanted to write the kind of book that, first of all, I would have wanted to read as a child, that parents would be excited to read with their kids, that moms could share with their daughters, so that we can make a whole generation of rich girls, entrepreneurial girls who can experience financial freedom and understand the principles of financial freedom. And the beautiful thing about financial freedom is that it is not about how much you make, it's about how much you save and invest. Hey, it's Samantha Hartley of the Profitable Joyful Consulting Podcast. This is a new season, and we are going to talk about money. We're going to talk about all things money because I want you to have a fluency, literacy, and also a comfort with this topic. And I'm going to start in kind of an unusual place today. I'm going to talk about a passion project. It is my passion project, so you're going to hear a little bit more about it. And also conceptually, let's talk about them in general and why they're helpful. So the first kind of analogy that I want to use is, you very often want to put a spark back in relationships that have gone on for a while. Sometimes we need to do that. And a lot of times the advice is, let's think about your partner this way. They can't be like the be all end all for you. It really helps for you to have other diverse interests, not necessarily other diverse people, but maybe. But specifically, like, don't have your partner require them to meet all your needs, because it just puts too much pressure on them and the relationship. And so, you might want to get hobbies, have friends, see your family, things like that. And I feel like that's a really good analogy because during COVID, particularly, I just started to feel like I love my business and I need to visit other business models. I need to do something else other than what I've been doing in my business, because I've been in business a long time. So I started to just play around with other projects. And sometimes they were revenue generating and sometimes they weren't, because I just wanted to explore new interests. One of the things that I've seen in consultants who overwork is that very often they don't have a thing outside of work that really draws them, pulls them away from work. Like, if I have spare time, I want to be putting it into the business. And it's like, well, maybe if you had something really fun and interesting to do outside of work, then you might be called to do that, a special fun project. So I'm offering the idea of passion projects today. What is a passion project? It's a thing that you work on because you're excited about it. I mean, we put the spark back in relationships because we want to reignite that passion that we once had that draws us to a partner or draws us to your business in the first place. So what can those passion projects look like? They can look like tons of different things. So I'm going to share some examples of some today, in particular the passion project that I've been pursuing and that I will be talking about more this season. But I also want to talk about 5 reasons to pursue a passion project and what you can do with them and why to do them, really. So the first reason that we might pursue one, I've alluded to, it's you really want to reignite that entrepreneurial spirit in your business. And one of the ways that we can do that is okay, let's back up from the day to day and think about where's the fun? Where's the excitement? What are you excited about doing? Sometimes this can look like shiny object syndrome if you jump from thing to thing, but a lot of times somebody's been putting a lot of work into their business for a long time, and it's really just time to say, what else is going on? I felt that way. I felt the spark of passion reignite in my business in the past few months when all of the AI and machine learning things started happening, when I started playing around with GPT, when I started seeing what AI could do for art and in other areas, and all of the ways, the creative ways that people have been using machine learning, and that how it can help us in healthcare. Over the next few decades, we're going to have a huge aging population. And are we going to have enough people to serve that population? Well, what can AI do to help in that area? Are we going to have robots? I don't know. But if people are beginning to confuse AI for something sentient, which it is not, can we have robots that feel good enough that they could take care of, people in nursing homes or, people in aging facilities, or to help lonely people feel more companionship? So that's really one of the most exciting things that I've seen happen. And it made me feel excited, not just about that, but about my own business in general. So I really love that I could get that I could start feeling entrepreneurial again about, my business, which is quite mature. It doesn't have that kind of startup feel anymore. So think about the things that come to your attention, whether they're new sales techniques or new markets that you could enter. I'm not saying this because I want us to pull ourselves off of our focus, because I'm committed to this idea of the 5 1s. And I also want your business to sustain itself. And sometimes what a relationship, including the one that we have to our businesses, needs to sustain itself is to bring in some oxygen. And sometimes that's a little bit of a newness. So if you can do that within the confines of the 5 1s, then even better. The 5 1s are how we want to focus our business on one audience, one offer, etc. So think about what's catching your attention, and can you maybe dabble a little bit in that on the side in a way that wouldn't pull your focus too far away from your main business. So that's the first thing, is let's reignite the passion in our business and for our business and just for business in general. The second idea is income streams and revenue streams. You can easily pursue new revenue streams, get an idea and go after that as a passion project. Again, this is a kind of a dicey idea, because I do want you to focus on what's happening for you. But what I also want you to do, I want you to focus on those 5 1s. But what I also want you to do is, if you get opportunities, someone comes to you with there's a Main Street investment that you feel really passionate about. I really love these micro investment, micro lending platforms. They're kind of like, a Kickstarter, but it's for investing in businesses. And I love them because it's really fun to kind of just follow your passion. You can put, $500 in something. You can put $10,000 in it, whatever feels interesting and fun. You can just do a little bit of investing in those companies and follow your passion. So is that, a vegan bakery? Is that a cannabis dispensary? Is that a new, rent a bicycle service? There's just all kinds of really cool and fun ideas. And I get excited about business in general, and I stay more excited about my own business because I look at things like that. So is that necessarily a big revenue stream immediately? Not necessarily. No, one of those companies might come to you and ask you to participate more actively in them, and that might, turn into something. So I just want you to be open to the idea that a passion project could be a little investment opportunity or a little, new business line. The third thing that passion projects can do for you is they really help you to differentiate who you are from others out there. A lot of our competitors and the alternatives to working with us, they're going to be, a lot of them can be these old traditional boring consulting firms. Some of them in some cases are going to be other people just like us, small consultancies. And the differentiation a lot of times comes down to who they are, not so much what they do. I've talked before about how when I first started and I was establishing my brand, when I put my brand online on the internet, immediately 50 people copied it. And I was like, hello, that's my specific brand language. That is the essence of me expressed. And they were like, so what can you brand that remains unique and no one else can imitate? Well, that's you and who you are. And so that unique experience and point of view that you have, and particularly your interests. So a passion project can be something to which you bring a unique perspective. You went and studied some sort of a different kind of business overseas, or you took a trip, or you decided to become a deep expert in something specific to your industry. Whatever those things are, whether they're professionally related or whether they're just a personal passion project, it's really fun for you to bring that to the work and for your clients to learn that about you. We now know that social media is so much less about us posting business all the time, and so much more about people to people, you communicating who you are with other people who could meet you on the platform. And yes, they're enjoying what you're writing from a business sense, what you're posting and sharing, but very often what they connect to is who you are and, what's unique and different about you. And these differentiators can very often just sometimes come down to, that's a person that aligns with my interests, or they have something going on and everybody else seems boring. So I encourage you to, in that sense, when you do choose a passion project, if you do, to really talk about it. The fourth thing is fulfillment. No amount of money is worth working in our businesses and not having a sense of meaning. And so when we pursue passion projects, we are bringing so much more fulfillment to the work that we're doing. You probably, I hope, are fulfilled by the work that you're doing on a daily basis with your clients. And on top of that, I feel like there's an opportunity, especially if you start to feel like sometimes when we get exhausted or burned out, or if you've been doing things for a while, you start to kind of just lose that spark of passion, and things may be less fulfilling. A lot of times, entrepreneurship is a hard slog. So, if you can find a passion project that can be fulfilling for you and help you to find more meaning in what you're doing, for me, I think the best example of this over the years is when I began to pivot from working with small businesses in general to working with consultancies, and when I really began to specialize in helping women consultants. I don't exclusively help women consultants anymore. However, the women that I work with know that I'm creating powerful, strong, female-led consultancies and businesses. And that is the passion project that I do now as part of my core work. But it began as I'm just going to try this. And then I wove that into my business. And it's extremely fulfilling for me because powerful women create powerful children, create powerful families, create powerful communities. We are, this is where the world changes, I believe, is through women. A lot of people also believe that. So that has been extra fulfilling for me. The last thing is that we can do when we have a passion project is give back. And so you can do this through charitable opportunities. You can do this by through mentoring. You can do this through a new service line. Again, beginning with a small kind of a side passion project that you later will incorporate into your business and that will become a revenue stream is fine. But it may go a different way. So if you have a passion for sustainability, for example, you can cultivate ways for businesses to be more sustainable and work with that. And maybe that ends up being a revenue generating opportunity eventually, immediately. It doesn't really matter as long as you're feeling more fulfilled by that. So the key thing that I wanted to share is that my passion project is I realized over the course of doing this podcast and the things that I've been teaching and the work that I've been doing with my clients, that very often I'm working with women business owners who don't have familiarity with their numbers. And not only that, they don't have comfort with the numbers and they have a lot of disdain for learning anything about this. It's not everyone by any means, but in many cases, and I think too often, I'm in the situation where someone doesn't know what they've earned. They're not clear on how to price. They don't feel in a negotiation situation where they're talking about numbers with a client. They don't feel comfortable there. For example, if we have to say, like, I want to do value-based pricing, so I need to know what this work is going to earn or save the client. Too often I'm in situations where the consultant that I'm working with is like, I don't know how to have that conversation. So I'm doing everything I can through my work with my clients and also through this podcast and any other ways that I have by the way, this podcast started as a passion project. All of the ways that I have to reach my audience, I'm trying to educate about how we can be more financially literate, fluent, and comfortable with the numbers in our business. Is it about being rich? I want you to be rich, but what is more important to me is that you're at choice and that you really have the familiarity to be able to make decisions, to ask good questions, to surround yourself with the support that you need. So the way that I decided to do this is I wanted to attack the problem closer to the source of when this happens. So it turns out that children's money beliefs are formed in childhood. Pretty much by the age of 7. Now that's a little young for me to start to communicate. So what I decided to do was to write a book that is aimed at kids 8 to 12 and is focusing on personal finance. So it's called Personal Finance for Kids. It'll be released over the course during the season at some point during the next 12 episodes. It's being birthed any minute now. And I'll be bringing the concepts from it to you and sharing them with you. So yes, I wrote a book for kids 8 to 12. Why? Because, as I said, that's when the beliefs have formed, our personality is formed. A lot of our money beliefs are formed. When I've talked to parents, they're like, oh, my kids, I can already tell that one's a saver and that one's a spender and this one, right? So parents tell me they already know these things. And let's begin to educate kids young. I also think if I were to take the simplest way that I can communicate something. It's like, if you've ever heard the principle of like, explain it to me like I'm 5. This is apparently from Richard Feynman. He would say, explain it to me like I'm 5, because if you can simplify concepts so that you can explain it to a child, then probably you understand it really well. And I took that challenge. I want to be able to explain things like compound interest to a child. I wanted to be able to explain saving and spending. I want to explore these topics from that simplest, most basic level, and make it fun and entertaining, because for goodness sake, it should be fun. So I wanted to write the kind of book that, first of all, I would have wanted to read as a child, that parents would be excited to read with their kids, that moms could share with their daughters, so that we can make a whole generation of rich girls, entrepreneurial girls who can experience financial freedom and understand the principles of financial freedom. And the beautiful thing about financial freedom is that it is not about how much you make. It's about how much you save and invest. It's about what you do with your money. It's also not about how smart you are. It's about the actions you take. So if that sounds empowering, that is my intention. I want to take the concepts that can be empowering to kids and to our grownups as we read along with the kids, and bring that to you, my audience. So that was my passion project, has been for the last several months, and I'm in birthing it as we speak. And as I said, it will be emerging this year, and we're going to talk a lot more about financial concepts. So I encourage you to find a passion project that makes you so excited that you get up 2 hours early, so that you can work on it, that you think about it all the time when you're not working, that you begin to condense the amount of place in your life that your work takes, because you're excited to create time and space for a passion project. Like, that's what I'm wishing for you. So keep in mind, it doesn't have to be financially motivated. It doesn't have to be revenue generating. It doesn't have to be giving back. It can just be something that is thrilling for you. So focus on the idea of passion. And I'm hoping that this season we can help to spark passion, rekindle if it's needed, rekindle your passion for your business, and for learning, and for becoming the ever better version of yourself, which is what I believe is the funnest part of self-employment. Being able to cultivate yourself, your gifts and talents, so that you can express them more effectively and deliver them through your business. And with that, I am wishing you a profitable and joyful consulting business. Thanks for watching. I'd appreciate it if you'd like this episode, and if you enjoyed the show, why not subscribe? Be sure to click the bell to get notified when new episodes drop.